Hi! Episode 3 of the Brewgooders dynamic duo of beer and comics. I can't remember comics and beer, but it's alphabetical, isn't it? Is that not how it
Beer
works?
and comics, let's do that.
We're going to be reviewing several beers, several comics that we've picked up this week, including, what have you got?
Well, beer-wise, I have Inner Bay's Topaz, which was recommended by a customer in our local beer shop. And I've got the Kernel Brewery from London, their Pale Ale. Going to have a look at that today as well. Geoff?
I've got 71 Brewing's New England IPA that we just found out what that meant today.
Here, not there. Here, nor there.
Here nor there, from the Ironworks in Dundee. Another one from Tinyrebel, because I'm determined to like one of these things. It's a marshmallow porter called Stay Puft, with a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man on it.
And we've been hearing lots of good things about that one, so we're looking forward to hearing
Comic wise,
comic wise, you go first.
I have The Last in Damage, which was a DC artist led title as part of their new Age of Heroes range. I just wanted to talk about that briefly. And the first 2 issues of the $6 Million Man comic, which I mentioned very briefly in the 2B thing that I kind of did alone yesterday. What have you got?
Well, I've gone full indie this week, so I have got The Fragment from a chap called Adam Falk, who was neighbours of mine at Edinburgh Comic Con a couple of weeks back. So we'll have a little look at that one, and something that is maybe a bit more, slightly more mainstream, but still indie. And I've got these on digital, which is Merrick, the Sensational Elephantman. I'll be looking at issues 7 and 8, which are kind of like a little mini arc, story arc. So, there we go.
Awesome. We're going to open our first beer, and we're going to pour them into our new glasses that were...
yes. We should mention our new glasses, which we got from our local beer shop, the Caledonian craft beer merchant in Dunfermline. So I've got a Stuart Brewing, you've got an Inner Bay glass, and we're going to have a...
Sorry, I'm cutting you off.
Interesting.
Just opened up this 71 Brewing's New England IPA. I think it's called Neipa Here Nor There. Obviously,
Nice play on words there.
Play on words. Yeah, it is a New England IPA. So
the little whiff there was quite fruity. So having a chat with Colin in our local beer shop this past week, he says quite a lot of the fruity kind of beers are the ones that are selling well. So it's interesting to hear that. I don't normally go for a fruity sounding beer. You had the raspberry from Boozy last time,
which I wasn't a massive fan of, but it seems to be rated quite highly by people that are shopping at the Caledonian craft beer merchant. Apologies for the name because he possibly listens. One of our followers on Instagram had also bought it and said he really enjoyed it. So, like we say, it's all kind of subjective. But yeah,
each to their own. So
this was there's a really cool thing that the Caledonian craft beer merchant do, where Colin takes out cans and puts them around areas in Dunfermline, and this was one of those beers which was what caught my eye.
Smells very fruity, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, very sweet smelling.
Really sweet. What did you say a couple of weeks ago about cloudy beer? It's quite a cloudy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Beautiful orange colour.
I'm presuming it's got. I'm looking at what hops it's got in it. Simcoe, Mosaic and Citra, so quite common hops. So although it smells quite sweet, I imagine with the amount of hops in it, it's probably got a bit of bitterness as well, so let's see.
Just kind of...
What do you think?
It's really citrusy.
For me, it seems quite pleasant, fairly well rounded. There's certainly a sweetness there, but a slight hoppy bitterness in there as well, which is
not a massively strong hoppy bitterness.
No, not at all. But yeah, definitely a sort of lemony citrus smell as well as a flavour.
Mm.
Bit of a creamy texture, I would say. I'm finding that quite pleasant. People always ask us the ABV. This is quite high, 6.5.
Yeah, I thought that is.
Yeah, because it does. You can taste it in there.
It's just really balanced, but also quite big. Like there's
I would say that's quite enjoyable.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
definitely.
one I would come back to.
It's one of the nicest beers I've drank in possibly this week actually. That's lovely. Yeah.
I've had a few this week.
I have had a few. I found myself reading a lot of
I've had a few in between beers this week, so just
I
trying
still photograph them though.
different things. I have been as well. So
I had
we'll
I had a couple of lagers this week just because I liked it. But that's lovely.
Yeah, I'm finding that very pleasant.
Yeah.
So shall we look at a comic then? Well, we'll let that work away on that beer.
Yeah. Can we do Damage first then? Just because I want to get this
out of the way.
Yeah. Damage is I've got issue 16 in front of me, but just very briefly wanted to talk about the series as a whole. Damage was part of the New Age of Heroes DC initiative that happened a couple of years ago. There was a big DC event called the Dark Knight Saga that rewrote how DC's universe kind of was structured on a fundamental level, and as a result there was an opportunity for a lot of new comic characters to come out of that initiative, and they released I think 8, I might be wrong at that, 6, 7 or 8, and I collected most of them. All of them bar one are now finished because of poor sales. It's not been massively well received. Damage is coming to an end this month. Another interesting title that I really enjoyed that was created by Dan Abnett called The Silencer ends next month, so I might talk about that next month. But I just really briefly wanted to talk because I thought this initiative was really cool, and I took a lot of it to my heart. I really enjoyed it. Pardon if I don't get the second name right, but Aaron Lopresti was the artist. It was a big part of this was that it was an artist-led initiative. I always think these books look really nice. The colour schemes are really excellent. I've not read this yet. Sort of a lot of bombastic colours, a lot of... He was the illustrator on Planet Hulk and a lot of big sort of DC and Marvel titles that have come up in the last couple of decades. He did Planet Hulk, and I'm not going to go too much into other than that. I just wanted to say I'm quite sad that series is ending. Damage was quite an interesting character. Obviously, as I said earlier, Lopresti wrote Planet Hulk, and there is a very kind of Hulk-esque element to this story. It is about a character dealing with the fact that he can morph into a bigger, scarier, larger, weaponized monster. The gimmick with this being that he can only hold it for an hour, and then whereas I think if I remember Marvel's sort of they play around with the rules a wee bit, that the Hulk can be the Hulk indefinitely. Damage has to get done in an hour, whatever his mission is. Otherwise, he will revert back to his human form. It's just an interesting series. He's had run-ins with most of the DC's main superhero line. Just an interesting character arc, which is ending this month. I think I've not read issue 16 yet, but issue 15 ended on. I'm a bit sad that this is ending now because I don't feel like it's going to end on a really. It's not going to end where I want it to end. But I just want to mention that quite a cool series. I thought the whole New Age of Heroes line was really cool, and there's a lot of trade paperbacks for these guys out. Just want to mention it. That was I'm going to be reading this later on this evening, but I thoroughly recommend checking out things like particularly Damage and The Silencer because they're not going to be around anymore. They're not going to be releasing these at least until I don't know. So there might be a reason to bring them back, but because that was cool. That was all I wanted to say about Damage. Check it out. It's you drink all your beer.
That's fine for me because we'll move on to another one soon. Have a quick look at my first comic of the week, The Fragment. Writer Adam Falp and Mike Stock on artwork here. So if you check out the cover, and it's kind of got a 60s, 70s Marvel kind of look about it, and also the artwork has as well. It's got limited colour palette plus the print style.
Yeah, we said that it was
the screen printing effect kind of goes with that kind of era. It's a fairly run of the mill, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It kind of hits all the tropes of a sort of James Bond type spy thriller. You've got the girls, you've got the kind of bar scenes, you've got kind of gadgets and bad guys and the boss and things.
Particularly this one here, I want to say this one here reminds me, like we were saying about that 60s Marvel.
Yeah, for sure.
There's this very sort of Peter Parker-esque.
It has got that kind of vibe about it.
Yeah, I like it. It looks really nice.
And then you've got a whole series of pages that don't have any dialogue or captions on them. You just follow the story fairly straightforwardly, I have to say. You don't get lost at all, despite there being no dialogue. in the storyline. I found it quite interesting, and you kind of felt a little bit that it was kind of just telling the story by numbers.
Yeah.
But it does have a twist at the end, which was a little bit unexpected. You kind of hoped that there might be something just a bit different, because I've read lots of spy thriller type things, and they always hit the same sort of spot. They always kind of follow the same tropes,
Yeah.
You watch one James Bond movie, you've kind of seen them all.
I was going to ask you about
But I really enjoyed it, so well done, Adam, on that one, and I'll probably be looking at some of your other books.
Does it have an issue too? Is this his issue?
No, this is just a complete story in one. But he does have a number of other books on different topics.
I like there's some nice touches, like the Comics Code Authority are it's unapproved.
Unapproved, yeah.
This is pretty cool. And then I was going to ask you just about the independent comics in general, because you were saying like it's a whole box of panels where there's no dialogue at all, and I think that's quite an interesting stylistic. I just remember when we were at a thing recently where people were Alison Sampson was published by Image quite recently, at the time that we went to the event, and they were asking all the questions about. I remember saying like because I'm not in comics in any sort of creative sense. When the question was asked, we're going to open it up to the floor, and then we'll have any questions. It was all about how do you get published with. Is there a tendency within the indie scene to try more stylistic things as a way of getting noticed?
Oh goodness, I think that probably is the case. That's where you're going to see the more groundbreaking kind of ways of telling stories. It's a bit like movies, they just constantly churn out kind of sequels to movies because they're tried and tested formula.
Yeah,
it's easier to get people in. So you'll find that with your kind of run-of-the-mill comics, your Marvel, your DC, they're not really trying anything really groundbreaking.
It works in the names there and that.
Yeah, they want to kind of keep the same things kind of going, and occasionally there might be something that'll be a little bit different. But you find that as soon as you do something a little bit different in the mainstream comics, you have a bit of a backlash.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of a fairly recent. I think it was Green Arrow, a couple of years ago when they did. Was it Rebirth? Or perhaps I can't remember anyway. And they had a very different artist who kind of didn't do the Marvel style.
Yeah.
And I really liked it, and I liked it because of that. But it didn't last long. He didn't get a long run on it at all. I can't remember who the artist was, but it looked really differently, and I liked it because it was different, and the artist was trying stuff. Yeah. But it didn't last long, and soon they reverted back to a kind of tried and tested artist who did it the Marvel way.
Yeah.
And so you tend not to get that in the mainstream comics, and you'll see people in indie comics doing something just a little bit different because they can. They don't have that huge audience that they've got to kind of pander to. And I think that maybe does get some people a bit more, recognised because they've tried something different. People will talk about it because they've gone for an unusual panel layout, or I've seen occasionally books that are in a kind of landscape format rather than portrait, which is a bit unusual.
There was a series last year that we both enjoyed that did that, I believe. Was that Image put out one about what was that called?
Oh yeah,
Borders.
Right.
Is that what it was called?
It was something like that. Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, it was I'm sure that was landscape.
Yeah, you're right.
That was a cool series as well.
Yeah.
No, it was just a general interest I had in the question. It's interesting. Marvel have changed their sort of illustrative style very recently. I think in line with the new event that they're running.
Yeah.
So certainly that event's artistic style has changed quite dramatically. It's quite. I love it.
Yeah.
Talking about artistic styles, I don't know if it's just luck or anything like that. But I got so we talked about Thunderbolt last week. I got issue 4, and there was 3 variant covers to issue 4, and I got the Casper Vanguard variant.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was done on purpose by Little Shop of Heroes, but I was speaking to Albie today, and they know that, and he made it very clear that he is listening. So I don't know if he just thought, "Oh, Geoff will want that cover."
Yeah.
But it's an amazing cover for issue 4. It's still an amazing series, by the way. I need to.
Well, I'm yet to read it, but I'm looking forward to seeing that. So I've just cracked open my first beer of the night, which is the Inner Bay Topaz. So this is a really local in Inverkeithing
Yeah.
brewery. They've got quite a number of different beers out at the moment. I tried their Pearl through the week there, which I found really interesting. Actually, Colin in the craft beer shop was one of his favourites.
Yeah.
And it was really smooth, quite sweet. When I poured it, unusually, it was really fizzy. Didn't have hardly any head on it. It looked like a cider, I have to say, and it's a similar colour. And the Topaz here has got that similar kind of look, orangey yellow, looks a bit kind of cloudy cider. Not a lot of head on it when I poured it. Don't know what it smells like. Let's check that out.
I'm going to steal some.
Oh boy, it's really fruity. It's got a real...
I'm going to put it in my inner bay glass.
This is, indeed, in the actual company's glass. So this supposedly is a vegan... well, I'm not getting raspberry, I'm getting... what's it called? Passion fruit. Passion fruit, that's what I'm getting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Passion fruit, yeah. Totally.
So I've tried Inner Bay before. They do like a citrus lager drink that I picked up from another beer shop in Merrick actually.
It's got quite a nice crisp kind of flavour to it.
Really crisp. You feel it as soon as it touches your lips. Actually, it's lovely. Soft is the word I want to use. Is that a word you can use in a?
I'm still getting the kind of a little bit of kind of passion fruity, kind of tropical, fruits kind of flavour about it. Not overly strong. I mean, it's not like
strong at all.
It's not like a cider that might have that kind of stuff in it, but generally.
That's
totally getting a passion fruit.
That's absolutely phenomenal.
I'm really getting a passion fruit smell from that. Really strong.
Oh, that's amazing. That's really good.
It's really crisp. It's got a kind of dryness on the mouth.
They're a microbrewery as well, Inner Bay. Did we say that? They're not a big brewer.
So they're really, really smart. I couldn't say. I really don't know anything about them. They're nearby. We should find out. We should find out more about them. I'm really enjoying this.
I'll quickly feedback. We had that on Callum, your son Callum, made a I think a small comment about the fact that you've probably left loads of beer on your kitchen counter.
Yes.
Yes, he's made reference to that. I don't
know
if
he's
he's
okay.
I don't know if he's
it
after
might not
a
be.
beer.
It might not be on the counter anymore.
I think that's what
right,
he was implying.
There were quite a few beers there, which my wife bought me earlier today.
Yeah.
In our local beer shop.
How amazing is it that we've got a local beer shop?
It's great. I mean, really. Okay, yeah, we've got pubs and we can go to Tesco or we can go to Aldi or whatever, but you're not going to get this kind of stuff there. You're going to get the run-of-the-mill stuff that you get everywhere else. Occasionally you'll get the odd thing that's interesting, but
it's something I like to do.
This stuff, as you say, microbreweries making interesting stuff.
Yeah.
That
is massively interesting. I haven't tasted anything that Inner Bay have put out that I haven't liked yet, and that's quite amazing. Yeah. You made a point a couple of weeks ago about one of the beers that we tried about it having a sort of a taste that you would associate with sort of small batches, sort of home brewy, and that's certainly not anything I'm getting with this. This is a really accomplished beer. It's like
these feel like quality beer.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking both the beers that we've had.
Yeah, we're on
so far. Yeah,
because
very good. We're on a roll. I'm going to put that one aside.
I think that's my favourite one.
We'll save that one for later. We'll have a bit more of that later on. So what's next?
My second and final comic. Yesterday I reviewed Glow in a really kind of lethargic way on my own, and Glow is a TV series that's brought out a comic, and I'm desperate for the next season of Glow to start. I think it starts in about August time. So when they released a comic, I got quite excited. So I was like, this actually might fill a gap. This might bridge a gap, and I was quite disappointed by how the comic book has come out.
Yeah.
The art's really juvenile. The storyline it's almost like diluted versions of the character. Glow is quite a complicated TV series, and it's just really good, and I love it as a result. And obviously it's tied around wrestling as well, which is in early 80s. I love the 80s. I love wrestling. I love the 80s, and I love the wrestling in the 80s. So it's a cool TV series, and I found the comic to be a massive disappointment. But it's something I look at when I'm buying comics is comics based on stuff that I enjoyed as a kid. Like and that's it. So one of the things I enjoyed watching with my dad when I was younger, when I think the Sci-Fi Channel was just a thing when I was about 5 or 6 years old, was the $6 Million Man. And they've just started bringing out they've just brought out a comic. It's by Dynamite have brought it out, and I bought it again.
That nostalgia thing.
Yeah, and the Little Shop of Heroes, our local comic shop, they do a really good job on a Monday and a Tuesday of putting up like what's coming out this week, or what's coming out in the next couple of months. And that came out, and I was like, yes. Okay.
Well, it's a TV show that I used to watch as a kid, so I'm a little bit older. I remember it being on TV, and it was something I watched. I had the toys, I had the $6 Million Man figure. It was kind of like an action man. He had a bionic eye you could look through, and the spacecraft capsule thing that you kind of put them in. I had all those toys, so it was a big thing for me. I loved the TV show, so I was interested to see when you'd got the comic. In fact, I was tempted in the shop to go and get it. I saw it and I thought, and there have been other $6 Million Man. This isn't the only,
I know that.
but and the ones I have read are very much like the TV show.
And that's what I was expecting when I bought this one, having not really realised there was previous ones before. This has definitely got its tongue firmly in its cheek, and as a result, I found at the start that to be quite jarring because it wasn't what I was expecting. But by the end of issue 1, I was all over it, and I was waxing lyrical to you about it as well. It's written by Christopher Hastings, who has I googled all this and did my research beforehand.
Okay.
His background is in other kind of comics about TV programs or kind of off kilter versions of existing properties. He's come out in Marvel doing a series called Gwenpool, which I think is Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah.
And he did the Adventure Time comics, which my son's read and really enjoys. Adventure Time's a cartoon on like the Cartoon Network and stuff. I think it's one of those TV shows that I've watched bits of it. Wasn't 100% into it, to be honest. My son loves it, but it does seem to be a TV series that adults quite enjoy as well. It's got that
for sure.
It's got that Beavis and Butthead like aimed at kids and adults kind of vibe to it. And
so $6 Million.
$6 Million Man though. Sorry, I do that quite a lot. I just go on tangents. I apologise. It doesn't help that we've had a couple of drinks before we went to air as well.
Indeed.
Yes. So just really well written. So it was written by Christopher Hastings. I want to mention the writing because I found the writing to be at first a bit tricky, but then as I went through it, I really enjoyed it. It's set during Steve Austin. Did I say Steve Austin? I'm not getting that. It is Steve Austin. I found that really tricky.
Like the wrestler.
Yeah, I found that really tricky as a kid, right? Because I love both. But it's his first mission, and it's a kind of run of the mill plot involving like Japanese Cold War kind of tension, Russians and Japanese secret societies bonding together to try and like mutually destroy the US and stuff like that. And it's just kind of a run the mill like James Bond-esque plot, a bit like you're in The Fragment. However, I do find Steve Austin's characterisation in this really funny.
It's very different from the TV show.
Reminded me a wee bit of that TV programme on Netflix called Archer, that kind of card. So kind of played for laughs. He anybody that listens, he'll tell them he's a secret agent, which obviously is totally like rule one.
Yeah, I'm like a secret agent. I've got bionics. That kind
of
thing.
That we talked about that before we went here as well. That was one of my favourite running jokes. Is he keeps doing this amazing stuff, kind of off panel. So like she'll say, right, Steve, I need you to go and do this, and she'll turn around and he's already done it, and she's like, how did you do that? And he's like, oh, I've got bionic legs. And it was a recurring joke that I find quite funny. There's also another wee bit where he fights ninjas, and as he's fighting them, he's doing a very accomplished job of fending off these ninjas, but he wants, at the same time, he seems to want to let them know. Yeah,
he talks throughout it. Like you mentioned, like Spider-Man does. He talks throughout the whole thing saying, hey, that was really cool.
I thought that was quite funny because he doesn't speak Japanese, so he's on this, he's in this situation with like a Japanese double agent who's trying to help him out. Again, that stereotypical, she's a very beautiful woman that he just, which I remember to be a recurring theme in the $6 Million Man TV show. His contact wherever on his mission tended to be a relatively young and attractive young woman, but they don't really acknowledge that in this. And
he's asking her to
translate
what he's saying to the bad guys, to the ninjas while he's fighting them. Which is bizarre.
He's punching one of them. He's like, can you let him know that despite the fact I'm beating him up, I really respect what he is.
And tell him it's bionic.
I just really enjoyed it. Issue 2 I didn't enjoy as much, but there's something that happens to him at the end of issue 1 that slows down the pace of issue 2. Yeah. Still enjoyed it, and I'm going to continue. I hope it's ongoing. Yeah. I don't know how Dynamite normally do it.
When you told me about it, I thought I'm not going to like it because it's nothing like the TV series. But I read it and I did enjoy it, and I quite liked the humour and this different take on it. I'm sure some purists will absolutely hate it and won't.
Is there any $6 million man purists out there?
I'm sure there are. There will be. But I liked it. I thought it was good, and I'm looking forward to seeing number 2. Because I just like the different take on it. I like the humour, the kind of almost teeny humour, the way that he was kind of confident and cocky in the way that sort of Spider-Man is when he's kind of battling the villains. I like that vibe about it. I liked a different take on it. So I would read it.
Yeah, so please check it out. I'm going to open. Are we on the weird beer? Will we go on the weird beer before we go on the pale ale?
Is that weird?
I think it's weird. I got this Tinyrebel. I think their whole thing is to do really kind of obscure,
rebellious. Yeah, absolutely.
We talked about them last week.
So this is, what is it?
It's called Stay Puft.
Stay Puft. This is their marshmallow porter.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really do porter. I was kind of bought over by the marshmallow rather than the kind of beer. Yeah, I'm a big Ghostbusters fan. It's another 80s thing.
Yeah, of course. So this one and their salted caramel version of it has been a big seller in our local beer shop. I think there is a salted caramel version of this.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of limited run. Boy, oh boy. It's heavy, thick stuff. A bit like the porter that we had to look at last week.
You had a porter.
I had the chocolate stout. That's what it was. The chocolate stout I had. So it's got that kind of same consistency. Fair head on it. Really nice dark colouring.
It doesn't really smell of anything. I was expecting.
It smells like a porter to me.
I was expecting something a wee bit more dramatic in the smell.
Yeah, I'm not getting a marshmallow yet, but I'm guessing that's maybe in the tasting of it. Right away you get that marshmallow. Oh boy. Yeah, for sure.
That's quite awesome.
Yes. Okay, it says it on the tin, marshmallow, but I didn't expect it to be marshmallow in your face. That was like, whoa, marshmallow. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to have another swig of that because that was awesome. Wow. Totally unexpected.
But... Well, we've had beers in the past where they've I had a raspberry one last week. You had chocolate. We had banana together 2 weeks ago, and I'm determined to find a beer that has like a weird aspect to it that I enjoy, and I think this may be it. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop looking for other ones.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, there's an aftertaste coming through that's really bitter, but I don't know if
there was nothing in the aroma at all. Of marshmallows, as far as I'm concerned, I can't smell that at all.
I'm trying to what I'm going to read the back. What is making the marshmallow taste come through then? The ingredients are obviously your malted barley, your malted wheat, your hops, your oats, yeast, and then there's lactose in there.
I don't know. What is marshmallow?
Yeah.
Is marshmallow? Is there a flower or something that's called marshmallow, and it actually does grow in marshes? I'm wondering. I'm not really sure.
I've
seen the question on the internet before. What does marshmallow taste of? And I don't know where the flavouring comes from, but that's quite interesting because it does hit you as soon as you taste it. Yeah. Though I don't really
present in the smell.
Don't detect it at all in the aroma. You know, now that I've tasted it, I'm kind of maybe getting it, but it's probably just the aftertaste. Yeah, it's bitter, like a porter should be with its dark. Kind of rye or dark barley or whatever. Funny.
I actually find that quite humorous as what came out of that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
That's really quite interesting. I'm
going to put the can
down next time. Like that?
We might have to come back to these and I wasn't expecting that to be so tasty. Right, your last comic, and then we'll do the last beer, and then we'll try and pick a beer of the week.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. So my last comic, and I've got this digitally, is Merrick the Sensational Elephantman. It is issues 7 and 8 I'm talking about. So this is quite a long ongoing series, been around for a few years. So 7 and 8 just came out recently. And the reason 7 and 8 kind of go together is it's a little story arc by itself.
Yeah.
Need to look at the background of this. So the Elephant Man, 1800s, real character.
Yeah.
Joseph Merrick, who was he was born with some kind of condition that deformed his face, his arm, gave him a limp, that kind of thing. And he ended up in a kind of freak show, touring around, being paraded in front of people for money and stuff. Went to Europe, was taken around in a circus and things. So this is a real character, and the writer here, Tom Ward, has taken this real character and turned him into something different. So it's not unusual for comics to do that, to take a real character, done it myself, and turn them into kind of reimagine them. So he's kind of turned them into this kind of crime fighting superhero.
That's very cool.
So in real life, Joseph Merrick gets taken in by a doctor, Dr. Frederick Treves, or Treves, Treves I'm going to call him, and at the London Hospital, and he wants to kind of try and treat him or find out, if they can help him with his condition, because in real life it was affected his breathing and things.
Yeah,
but in the comic book, no. He's kind of taken them on board to kind of try and help him, but he encourages him to use his talents. So in the comic book, he's got this incredibly thick skin, so he's impervious to knives and bullets and things like that. He's got the strength of an elephant, he can withstand falling and getting hurt and stuff. And so he becomes a kind of masked superhero. And you'll see that in the comic book. I'll just flick through.
That's quite mainstream. What I was going to say, what's the art like?
If you look at the artwork, it's very much like Hellboy.
Yeah.
It's got that look. So here's, for those in video, there's a little look at some of the artwork. So you'll see here in the bottom panel there he is. He's in the theatre, and the theatre's been taken over. There's some robots have come in, and he's diving off. He's pulled his mask on, and he's diving out of the box down onto the stage to take on these bad guys, and these kind of superhero antics. It's got that Mike Mignola Hellboy kind of look about it,
absolutely, for
sure. So the artist here is Luke Parker, who is well known for doing this series, but he's been doing a whole bunch of other comics as well. But what becomes apparent here in this story, and it's kind of been a little bit interwoven throughout the previous episodes, is that Dr. Treves is part of the Masons, and the Masons are doing some kind of, they're summoning some dark gods.
Okay.
And you also discover a little bit more about the Elephant Man's origins, because we've been told a story already about how he came about and the reasons for why he's like that, but we discover something new in this story arc over issues 7 and 8. And we also find that the Masons have kind of been manipulating Joseph.
Yeah.
And turning him into this hero that they can use, perhaps against their enemies and things.
Yeah.
And that for their own agenda, and it kind of comes out in this story arc. So I don't know how long this series is going to continue. I mean, it has been a few years that this has been around, and it's very popular. If you want issue one you can get for free on the merrickcomic.co.uk website. So you can go and download the first one, see if it's something that you like, and then you can continue. There's a trade paperback with about 4 or 5 episodes in it, which I've got. And these are the more recent ones I've just been getting digitally because I have no more space in my house for comics, really. So highly recommended if you can get a hold of it. But like I say, issue 1 you can get for free on the merrickcomic.co.uk website. If you like, what the blurb on the book is something like it's a gas lamp, Penny Dreadful type of kind of story, is how Tom describes it.
I've got the first Hellboy trade paperback upstairs, and it does remind me of that even just sort of the detailing on. Yeah.
That's it. All the little cutaway bits and pieces here. I'll show you the kind of back cover, and that'll give you the website address as well, merrickcomic.co.uk, and all this little kind of detailed artwork and things is reminiscent of Hellboy and things as well. They're clearly fans, or at least Luke Parker, the artist, is clearly a fan. And with that style of stuff, so highly recommend.
So how did you come across it? You said it's quite popular.
Oh right, yeah. Well, actually, the first time I saw it was in Gosh Comics in London. So it's a comic shop masquerading as a bookshop. So it looks like a bookshop, kind of from the outside, and the upper floor is kind of mostly books, and then downstairs is the comics. And I think it's actually Tom Ward's, the writer's local comic shop, I think. But he had, that's the first place I saw the book, Merrick, and it really stood out for me, you know, amongst all these kind of other books, as this really interesting kind of look. And I thought it was a Hellboy or something because of the artwork, and I picked it up and I was immediately kind of taken by it as something that would be my kind of book. So that's where I first saw it, and then since then I've been kind of following on Facebook and Kickstarter and things as he's been releasing through Kickstarter. And Tom was at Glasgow Comic Con, I think, last year. So I got a chance to meet with him and have a little chat about all the cool stuff that he does.
That's cool. The Elephantman thing's quite fascinating. I watched was it James Lynch did a movie about the Elephantman? With,
David Lynch.
Did
the 1980, I think it was. John Hurt played Joseph Merrick. Yeah, that's right.
I remember that being like quite accessible, and obviously David Lynch is known for not really being the most accessible of directors.
Yes,
kind of art housey, even when he does, even with his more mainstream stuff.
One more beer. I'm going to give our glasses a bit of a rinse for this one after that Stay Puft Porter.
I don't know if I've got anything else I can chat about. Colin talked about the Merrick comic and The Fragment. So two local indie, or not local indie, but independently released.
Yeah, no, it's good. Adam's London.
Yeah.
And Merrick, well, yeah.
He's London.
Tom's London as well, yeah. And we're going for a London beer. As well.
Was that by design? Or
it was actually by design. I thought of a little London theme. So when I was in the shop, because we tend to do Scottish beers or local beers, and I thought, I'm going to do these two comics this week. They're from London. Let's look for a London one. So this is the Kernel Brewery. It's a pale ale called YET, I think, which sounds a bit sort of.
African.
It could be African. I was thinking Hawaii.
Oh yeah.
Hawaiian. So I don't really know anything about this. Not had any of their beer before. I think we'll give it a try.
Yes.
But
it's a pale ale.
It's a pale ale. So yeah, it's pale. It's a bit nice yellow colour. Not a lot of head on it.
I noticed that the head was quite
fruity smelling.
Yeah.
I don't know what is that. What smell? What fruit is that?
I'll just go back to the word citrus, and I probably need to expand my palate a little bit more.
I don't know. Mango? Don't know. Possibly. That's not what I was expecting.
It's really soft.
Soft, creamy kind of flavour. Yeah.
What's the ABV on that? Because it's quite
it tastes as though it could be quite strong. It's 5.3, so not over.
I thought it was about what I thought. Yeah, I hadn't we went into the Stay Puft ABV, by the way, which was 5.2 as well. So it was 5.3, 5.2. Yeah. What are you drinking tonight, Gary? Gary's saying hi. What's that?
So, interesting that it's London and it's pale ale, because London's known for its porters and its stouts, porter in particular. Do you know why that is, Geoff?
Is it to do with give me a quiz? Is it to do with the fact that it's on the Thames? Is it something?
Kind of, yeah. It's something to do with where it is, yeah. So one of the ingredients that most people overlook.
Is it the water?
It's the water.
Yeah. That's what I was saying about it being at the river. The fact that comes from the water is like refiltered from the Thames, maybe.
Yeah. Well, in the south of England, the water is very limey. You know, it's kind of it's kind of chalk hills and stuff around nearby, so you get really kind of hard water compared to the soft water that we get here in Scotland. So you get lime scale build up in your your sink and your
pipes
kettle.
and stuff.
Your kettle has to have a lime scale filter and things in it. So it was really difficult in London in the past to use the local water to make a pale ale.
Yeah.
Because the taste would come out. So what they'd found was that their better beers were ones that were dark. So they would roast the barley, roast them all, kind of dark, and make porters,
smoky,
and make the dark beers like porters and stouts, and that would give a better flavour. So that's why these areas have that. So it's interesting that the water has such a big effect on it. You were saying a couple of weeks ago that you were quite like Pilsner.
Yeah.
So it's quite the opposite for Pilsner. Pilsner comes from a place which I think is called Pilsner, or something very similar to that. And I'm not entirely sure. Can't remember which country it is. Holland, Denmark, one of the that area anyway. And it's because they have particularly soft water that they can produce that type of beer. Which is quite similar to like Scottish water, which is very soft. So we can make quite good lagers with our.
That's our later, more sessional kind of.
Yeah. And the characteristics of water from different places allow you to make different flavours of beer.
Yeah, that's really fascinating.
And another thing is Burton-on-Trent is kind of a brewing area, and a well-known brewing area in the north of England. And the characteristics of their beer comes from the water from the River Trent, and there's a lot of gypsum in the water. So it's like I'm trying to remember the technical chemical name, something sulfate anyway. And the sulfates give it a sulphury kind of flavour. And interestingly, I was reading that some companies that are not in Burton-on-Trent add chemicals to their water to try and get the same consistency and same flavours.
That's fascinating.
Who knew? Water, huh? Anyway, let's enjoy this.
Right, I like to know the ins and outs.
So I'm interested, are they using local water for this or not? Because clearly it's a pale ale, and it's not the usual thing.
What you would,
Or
based on what you're saying about London.
Do they ship water in? Or is it they've got another source perhaps?
So it's Kernel the Brewery, and the Kernel Brewery must be aware of my sugar in it. It's not an ingredient, sugar, yeast. Almost a beer. We need to pick up beer of the week. That's really good.
That's very enjoyable, but I'm liking probably these are my two, and I think you kind of suggested the Inner Bay's Topaz and the Tinyrebel Marshmallow Porter Stay Puft.
We'll try and pick one of the two.
Yeah, I mean, I liked. But what would you go for? What would be your? What's your?
I thought that Inner Bay was phenomenal. It wasn't the Topaz. It wasn't something that I wasn't expecting it to be so good. But the same with the Stay Puft. I thought I was expecting, based on my experiences with sort of novelty ingredient beers, that not to be as nice as it was.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and get glasses and we can have another wee go.
Let's do that.
What was I going to say? When we first started the podcast, doing beer of the week wasn't something we'd actually discussed. However,
no, we hadn't really thought about beer of the week. Is that a thing?
I'm running the glass.
Or even a comic of the week. It's hard to.
Comic of the week's a wee bit harder.
It's hard, but I think it's the same with the beer because they're so different. If they were all pale ales, we could say, yeah, that one was better than that. But we've got a huge mixture of different beers here. For me, I mean, the Stay Puft was the unexpected, even though it says it on the tin, marshmallow flavour, because you smell it, you don't really get that, and then suddenly it's just wow, marshmallow in your face.
I think I could drink that. I think for me, the Topaz,
I could drink that.
I could drink it over and over again. I don't know if the Stay Puft I would get.
Yeah, it's it's a one-off or an occasional little treat. I think it's fairly expensive as well, isn't it? Tinyrebel stuff, and I don't know if it's just because it's small batches,
that's what I thought it would
or
have
if
been.
it's just from further afield. I'm not sure
because it's from Wales. Tinyrebel are based in Wales, whereas obviously Inner Bay's quite
for
cheap.
us to buy that is a little bit more expensive than the Inner Bay, which is actually quite inexpensive, but then it comes from like 5 miles down the road.
Transport costs are not that expensive.
I would say definitely try that if you get the chance. And apparently there's this salted caramel version
I
of
think
it
I'm
as well,
gonna
which
get that
I'd
in a week,
like
I
to
think.
try for sure. I want to see what that's like. But salted caramel is a bit of a thing, isn't it? Everything's salted caramel at the moment.
It's such an effective taste.
But the Topaz, is something I'd maybe drink more often. I'd have
Did we
more
guess
of
that it had passion fruit in it? Did we guess
that's
that?
the
Or
one.
did you read
No,
it?
no, that's the one that we said passion fruit. It was the smell.
It's got mango and passion
And
fruit.
it tells you on the label as well. There
That's
you
why
go.
I was asking.
Yeah, because you totally get that taste.
You
from
do,
it.
yeah.
You really do. It's like one of those, passion fruit drinks that you get.
Absolutely.
I don't know what you call them.
There, that's the last of it.
Pop type things.
Have another wee taste and see what you think.
Yeah, let's see.
The reason we're keeping beer of the weeks is I'd actually like to do something towards the end of the year where we can kind of recognise a beer of the year. And I like that beer and year are rhyming words as well.
Okay, beer of the year.
So
Like rear of the year.
yeah, a wee bit like that. Felt like more tasteful. I took. Obviously, we took a note of issue. Number one, it was our first episode that we were together. We voted one of. It wasn't Stuart Brewing. There was one of the local breweries. Cool Brewings. We voted their
Baby Badger.
Baby Badger is our beer. So this is kind of competing against that. And I think we're gonna do a Christmas special. I've decided.
Oh right.
Where we're bringing all the beers of the
boy.
weeks from like previous episodes.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And then we can pick which one we can.
Right. So if we do that from now
we're
until
gonna make that,
Christmas,
it's not going to work like that.
We're talking about like 30 beers.
We have to do beers in the month or
That
something.
could be a more than an hour long session. That one.
We might have to work out how to do it.
Yeah,
and like,
a monthly.
I'm thinking like public vote
monthlies.
as well.
Mind you, even monthlies is going to be like 9 beers. Oh boy.
There's a way to work it out.
We'll just have to do it like an advent calendar. In the run up to Christmas, every week, every day, we'll just have a advent calendar.
I think so. I think
We'll open the door and there'll be a beer that we're going to taste. One every day.
I thought like viewers like myself. I'm going to give you some more Stay Puft as well. I thought my idea was, I don't know, I've not really got an idea. I just throw ideas in my head. But yeah, I do think we should have a beer of the year. I also think we should take a bit of time to work out how that's voted.
Thank you. I'm just still astounded by this.
Yeah.
It just smells like a porter or a dark beer.
So we're back on the Stay Puft for our audio listeners. Yeah, but that happened to us 2 weeks ago as well. There was a very profoundly banana smelling beer that tasted nothing like banana. It was quite a disappointment.
Yeah. And this one doesn't smell of marshmallow, but as soon as you...
I still can't go with it. Oh.
It just comes out of nowhere. Wow. Yeah, but I'm not going to drink that all night.
Yeah.
That's for sure. That's a one tin would be enough.
We have to work at a scale of doing this because, like I said, if we're going to do a beer of the year, I think we have to, or a beer we probably have to scale it to some degree. Because at the moment we're just doing, we like that more than we like that one. But
yeah.
I would like to take it to some sort of public vote as well. I want to lean towards Inner Bay being my.
Well, we could whittle it down by, here's our beers of the week.
Yeah.
And then public vote. Which ones would you vote for? And then we'll pick out the top 4 or 5 or something, and that'll make it through to our final vote.
So
would
we agree that Inner Bay is our personal? The Inner Bay Topaz is our beer of the week, but you should totally check out Stay Puft as well.
I think so. Yeah. I think I would drink the Inner Bay. I would have a few of them. I could quite happily have them at a barbecue or with friends. Give them that, and we could drink 2 or 3 over the course of a night or something. The Stay Puft's a special. I want something different.
You've got to check out this marshmallow beer that I've got in the fridge.
Yeah, we'd cut that out and say, hey, have a bit of this.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and they'll go, oh my god.
I actually might leave that bit and let my wife try that actually because that's quite a funny thing. Okay, so next week, do you have anything in mind for what you're doing next week?
I've got so many comics. I mean, I must have read about 20 comics this past week. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I might actually delve into my graphic novels.
Oh yeah.
That I've gotten recently. And talk about them rather than individual episodes or one-shot comics. Yeah. I'll do a one-shot. I think I picked up one called Replacer this week, which was very interesting. I'd read a little bit of it in the back of another comic last week, I think, and then I saw it in the shop and I thought I'm going to get that, and it was particularly interesting personally to me because the storyline is about a boy whose father has a stroke, and well, there's a kind of supernatural kind of twist to it. And that's something, and it was written by the writer was somebody who'd been affected, his family, parent had a stroke, and that's something I've been personally affected with in the past, and actually just more recently as well. And it kind of called out to me that I should read this, and just see, because it was a bit like the writer dealing with that part of his life by getting it out as a story. But it's got this little supernatural twist. So
that's cool.
I picked that up this week, and I think I'll include that in something else.
Yeah, cool. I've no idea. No, I've no idea.
No.
I've got about 10 issues of the Marvel event, so I might try and do some sort of recap. I'm going to find that quite tricky because I might just read them and pick the one I thought was interesting, because I don't want to spoil the plot to anyone that's going to maybe check out War of the Realms.
Yeah.
But I'll pick something from the War of the Realms. And I've got Venom number 13 and Asgardians of the Galaxy number 14 and random stuff upstairs. So I might just read them and pick out the ones I thought were most interesting. And I might delve into the more indie side of things as well.
Now, beer wise, we both happened to independently pick up Raspberry Coronade from Brewtoon.
Yeah, we did.
And I fully intended to do that one tonight, but I've gone for the other ones instead. So Raspberry Coronades from Brewtoon, so they're an Aberdeen-based brewery, and I think
it's probably worth a shout. If we both picked it, then that's maybe a good indicator of trying to be right.
Yeah, I because the fruity ones, our local shop said the fruity ones are selling really well. I thought let's give one a try.
Yeah. I'm up for that for next week.
So we've got that one, and we'll pick something else for then as well.
Cool. Thank you for joining us. Join us on all social media and all the different ways you can chat to us. And we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us.
Cheers.